What's good, guys? KJ Sports is back, and today I just want to talk to you guys about Kenneth Faried and how he's been able to revive his career. Ever since he joined the Rockets, he's been averaging 30 minutes a game on 15.9 points per game and 10.3 rebounds. Now, I think the Rockets did a really good job by picking up Kenneth Faried, as everyone knows that Clint Capella went down with an injury, and so they had to figure out a way to fill that role, in which their backup center Nene was not doing. And I think the fact that they were able to pick up Kenneth Faried, who's similar to what Clint Capella does. Now, obviously, Clint Capella is a better player, but they were able to find someone who fits the role that it similarly does. Now, the thing that Kenneth Faried does lack is the defense, as since he's an undersized big man at 6'8", he can tend to, I'll say, get mismatched on some bigs, which could be pretty bad for their defense. Now, what's interesting is what Kenneth Faried's role is going to be when Clint Capella comes back. Because obviously, there's no way you're going to bench Clint Capella for Kenneth Faried. That just shouldn't happen. But it'll be interesting because you also don't want to put Kenneth Faried and Clint Capella in, since Kenneth Faried is a power forward, but you don't want to play those two at the same time, since like the modern day era in the NBA, that's just not what you want to do. It's not how you're going to be good on offense. So what I'm thinking is that they're going to have Kenneth Faried come off the bench. I'm hoping that they can give him some decent playing time in the playoffs, something like that, because I do think Kenneth Faried, if he keeps this up, deserves a contract for next year and like moving forward. When you put Kenneth Faried out on the floor, you know he's going to give you max effort. He's going to give you 100% on the rebound, put back dunks, those kind of things like that. His offensive game is limited, however, he cannot really space the floor, and it's going to be very difficult for him to really be able to find his place amongst his team when Clint Capella comes back. But I do think this man deserves a contract for the way he's been playing. He obviously has shown that he still deserves to stay in the NBA because, as you guys know, the past 2-3 years, in 2017-2018 season, the 2016-2017 season, and the 2015-2016 season, I know that's a lot, he started to decline in those years, and you could see with the Nuggets, his role significantly kept getting smaller, and it just wasn't looking good for him. But during those years, they all had people like Darrell Arthur, Nurkic, Nikola Jokic, and those big men would compete for Kenneth Faried's playing time. And as you all know, Nurkic is a pretty solid center for the Portland Trail Blazers, and Nikola Jokic is literally an MVP candidate. So he's been doing very well this season. And so the Nuggets I think it was time for them to move on. I'm just glad that Kenneth Faried was able to find a place where his style of play could be used. I think the Rockets was a perfect fit because we all know what they do. James Harden, Chris Paul, ISO pick and roll. You know they're going to get buckets and do their thing. So the fact that they're able to bring a rim roller or pick and roll style of person on offense to replace Clint Capella for the time being was a very good acquisition. And I'm excited to see how this team's going to be able to do heading into the playoffs. So as of right now, the Houston Rockets are the 5 seed, one game under the Portland Trail Blazers. And I think this team can be a good to deadly playoff team, but it just depends on how James Harden performs. Now, last year in the playoffs, he wasn't the most, efficient person, and it's been like this for a while now. This topic, this would be another video for a different time. If you guys want me to talk about James Harden and how his playoff performances can kind of hold back his legacy, I can sort of talk about that, but that's for a different time. But basically what I'm trying to get at is that James Harden needs to show up for these playoffs and be the regular season James Harden that we know for them to succeed in the playoffs. Now, of course, I do think the Warriors will end up going on and going to the finals. But I wouldn't be surprised if this team, assuming they stay the 5 seed, I think in my opinion, they will end up getting higher in the standings because I just think they're a better team than the Trailblazers. But yeah, it just depends on how they're able to play and if James Harden shows up. Because if he does show up, this team could get to the Western Conference Finals. I feel like they'll end up getting to the conference finals, of course, and then maybe losing 6 games, 5 games, something like that. Sort of similar to what I was talking about in my last video on how the Thunder will lose. I don't know. It sort of depends on how you feel about James Harden and Chris Paul come playoff time. But that's just my opinion if James Harden is able to step it up and become big for this team. So yeah, that's going to conclude the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys want me to talk about anything else, leave a comment down below. Stay tuned for my MVP discussions when I talk about that and the rest of my awards. I'm going to be making videos on that for like most improved player of the year, rookie of the year, sixth man of the year, stuff like that. So make sure you stay tuned. Follow me on Twitter, KJ Sports, and I'll see you guys next time.